Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm recording this on the evening of August 25th, 2014, and I'm doing it at night because, you know, I like to do symbolism, right? And a darkness, a gross darkness is starting to descend upon our nation, worse than it ever has in the past, actually the entire world. Evil is getting so popular that it's rampant. Our police, our military, they're mercenaries. The people themselves are ignoring the principles of liberty. They want it for themselves, but no one else. And terrible things are happening. Well, I'm going to cut to the chase here. Look, about 6 or 8 months ago, you may have heard a story, maybe not, about a small New Mexico town police chief who, because he was he was a member of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, and he was on his way to a convention in Las Vegas, Nevada, for constitutional police and sheriffs, people that want to protect our rights as public officials, okay? A very worthy cause, constitutional cause, patriotic cause. Well, he was harassed at the airport, and then the feds got involved, starting with TSA agents, but it moved further than that. And basically he was fired by his town, and his entire police department was fired as well, because they were, I guess, all trained pretty much the same way by him. Well, if you remember, New Mexico is where Albuquerque, which is a town not far from him, was where those police officers shot and killed that homeless man who was unarmed and no threat to anyone. And 2 officers could have gone up and taken care of that without doing what they did. And this brutalization of people is rampant throughout the country. You know, we're having 8,000 SWAT raids a year for things like goat's milk. Okay, and I could go on and on and on. Let's get back to Shane Harger. So Shane is a young man. I really don't know how old he is. I think he's about 30 years old. You'll have to forgive all the noise and everything here. I'm doing this I wanted to do a really good video on this because I think it's worthwhile, but I felt like I had to get it out because it's critical at this point. He's a young man with a young family. He excelled in his area and became a police chief because of it. He's a moral man. He's a spiritual man. How do I know that? I know him personally, okay? He was at Bundy Ranch with me and many others, standing under the possibility of dying or being persecuted or prosecuted for trying to help innocent people who are merely trying to live their lives as they have for hundreds of years. And we can argue all the time about whether or not the thing at Bundy Ranch was right or not. That's not the point of this video. If you don't know that it was right by this point, it's because you don't want to know. You want to latch on to some, you know, legalese definition of what was happening there without understanding the history or the real issues and law involved. But that's regardless here. We're talking about Shane Harger. He stood there with me and the thousands of others that were there. Okay, he was willing to put himself on the line again, and he wasn't even a police officer at that point. He just went because he knew it was the right thing to do. Well, right about the time that they were giving him this trouble at the airport, he had made an arrest, a felony arrest on 2 guys and a girl that I understand. Okay, and 2 months after the arrest, 2 months after this thing was taken care of and it was getting ready to go to court, the woman comes into his office and says to him, "If you don't pay me $200,000, I'm going to accuse you of rape." Well, of course, he didn't pay the $200,000. He went to the state police and warned them that this was coming so that they could do something about it. Well, guess what? Because he's considered a constitutional police chief, they're now using this as a way to take him down. They've probably paid this woman off or some other thing. They've used her in some way to come after him. They SWAT teamed him at his home. I don't know how many. They had an MRAP there. They had police officers in full battle gear. they didn't have the common respect to go call him up and say, hey, you know, there's some things about indictments in New Mexico. They could have called. He knew about it. He was going to go turn himself in, but no. They got a SWAT team, you know, and have the news there. They don't let his attorney know about it or anything like that. They just SWAT team with the news there. They had enough time to call the news, because this is propaganda. Look what the state can do to you if you don't kneel to them. All right, I'm losing my patience here, and I'm sorry. The point of all this is that he is a real victim now, and this is, he's not the only one. Of course, we know about, you know, all sorts of people. One of the latest ones also is Sergeant Major Dan Page, who is very much a constitutionalist, understands the government. He was a police officer in Missouri and has now been framed, falsely accused of a hate crime, of being brutalizing some media personality at CNN. The whole thing is blown way out of proportion. You know, they call him a racist and brutal, but not the officers that shoot and kill people unnecessarily, or tase them and kill them, or whatever. Well, and I'd like to talk about Sergeant Major Dan Page, a police officer in Missouri right now, but Shane is my major concern, because he spent 2 weeks in jail, okay? And he's looking at a very long sentence if they're successful in prosecuting him. So he really needs the help. His first attorney wasn't worth shit, and I'll say that up front right now. He wasn't worth a damn. I listened to his interview, David Knight's interview with this attorney of Shane's that happened about, I think it was a week ago, and the guy's a nerd. I don't know where he came from. He's more of an apologist for the state than anything else. But anyway, since Shane got out of jail on a bail, which was very high, he had a lot of friends, he had a mortgage, things like that helped him get out. He's now retained, or trying to retain, some really good attorneys that will help him through this. Now, even with good attorneys, I don't trust the court system. Okay, I'm saying that up front. We have a corrupt court system that bows its knee to the evil side of everything. So I don't know that this is going to work, but we can't let him stand here alone. So what I've done is I've put in the description box below the information on where you can contact Shane's people that are collecting money for his defense. And I would just like to mention it here again, so that, you know, as a matter of fact, this is a text that I got from him. I had been texting him for like several days saying, Shane, where are you? I haven't heard from you for days. What's going on? I didn't know he was in jail, that this thing had happened. So he finally got my text, and this is what he sent me. Okay, it's an address. It's down below in the description box. 3167 San Mateo Boulevard, Northeast, number 344, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87110. And this is what he says. Every dollar counts. The more people that send any amount of money, it will aid me in this fight. If someone loves liberty, if someone wants to stand for justice, please help me. This is a man who's never asked for help from anything, but he's a spiritual man. He knows that unless he asks, he will not receive. So he's asking. And we should be the hand of God to help him out here to the best degree that we can. This is going to become more and more widespread. They're going to come after more and more people who are standing up for the Constitution, for liberty, for spirituality, true spirituality, whether it be Christianity or anything else. Christianity just happens to be, you know, the thing that they're after right now for a lot of reasons. But at any rate, vets again, you know, this shows if we don't help to stand up for him, who's going to stand up for us when they come for us? So this is the time to band together. So I'm going to ask you if you have any extra cash. You know, $5. Everybody has $5. Everybody. And if you can give more, you know, that's great. You know, go without lunch one day, fast a meal, and send him $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do. You know, if you can send more, great. You know, I would appreciate it. Now, I don't have his picture here, but you can Google his name, and there'll be all kinds of bad stuff in the mainstream media about him. But if you go to InfoWars and see what the story is there, I think that will help you to understand. Again, Shane Harger is a spiritual man. He's a moral man. He stands for liberty and the Constitution and true patriotism. And he was willing to put his career, his family, and his life and his liberty on the line for other people. And he's paying the price for it. Let's not allow him to stand alone in this hour